Hey guys, so it's an exciting day for us. We've been vlogging on the GoPro Hero 5 Black, which anybody who is familiar with that camera knows it's a great camera for action, great for shooting outdoors, but the low light capability is terrible. Anything above 800 ISO, the camera is basically useless. This camera that I'm filming on now is the Nikon J1. Great camera also, but 8 years old. And the audio on this camera is terrible. And you know, when this camera came out 8 years ago, vlogging wasn't as popular as it is now. And these cameras were designed to shoot well and have decent video quality, but the audio just isn't there. So we went ahead and got the Canon G7X Mark II. We're very excited about this, and we're going to do an unboxing. Now, in all honesty, I have to tell you, this came about 15 minutes ago, and I had everything set up to do the unboxing, and I went ahead and unboxed it only to realize my Nikon J1 was not recording. So I did open this already. Sorry about that. But here it is. I put everything back basically the way it was. And let me show you what it looks like out of the box. So to begin with, you have your Canon online photo album offer. I'm not interested in that. I don't put anything into a cloud. This is the limited warranty. Not interested in this either. I'll register online. And here are the directions. Now tell me, who reads this? Also useless. Now for the useful stuff. That is the charger. It's a one-piece unit, no cord. I like that. Plugs directly into the wall. Has the flip down plug in the back. I like this type of a charger because it's one unit, one piece. Don't have to worry about losing a cord or whatever it might be. Like this. Let me put this here. There is the battery. Nice and compact and small. I will get another battery. I have heard that the battery life on this camera is so-so, so we'll get another battery to back this one up. There is a wrist lanyard, which we need because we have butterfingers. And here it is, like an egg waiting to be hatched. The Canon G7X Mark II. Very excited. And there she is, guys, in all of her beauty. Flip up screen, shoots 1080, very popular vlogger's camera. We're going to charge this baby up and we'll test it out a little later on. We'll talk to you guys later. Alright, so I'm finally recording on the G7X. I couldn't figure out where the record button was. I was actually hitting the button on top, but apparently that's for photograph. So turn a light on in here. So just kind of put the battery in. Battery just charged up, and I am just now kind of playing with it, walking around the house like I was with the Nikon J1. Got it a little bit earlier today. Now it's really hard, I have to say, it's really hard not to look up at the little screen. I would imagine that in time you kind of get used to that, but the temptation is really to look up at that, and which would look unnatural because then it looks like I'm not looking at you, it looks like I'm looking over your head. But I guess that's just something that comes with time. Alright guys, so finally got the G7 battery charged up and it's up and running, and want to do a little bit of test video. One of the things that has been really confusing is that I have YouTubed information for camera settings on this particular camera to optimize the camera for vlogging specifically. And I have to tell you, there are a lot of opinions out there. But as a guy who used to do photography semi-professionally, I actually apprenticed with a wedding photographer for several years. And naturally we used DSLRs. I actually have a D3, which is an older DSLR. We're going back about 10, 12 years here. So when shooting with a bigger DSLR, there is a light meter in the camera, so that when you are in manual, you can kind of tell, looking at the light meter, what kind of exposure you're getting, and you can adjust your ISO, your aperture, and your shutter speed accordingly in order to satisfy the light meter. Now, I see a lot of people advising to shoot in manual on this camera, but there is no light meter, which means you're dependent on this little 3-inch display to be able to try to determine if your exposure is right, and I just don't get that at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. If I'm in direct sunlight, my little monitor is going to look much different than it's going to look if I'm in a dark place or if I'm indoors. So how can I trust my eye to know what the end result will be once I'm looking at something on a television screen or a computer monitor? It doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know how to shoot manually in this, honestly. My eyes are not good enough to be able to look at that little screen and make a real determination. So I found one particular vlogger, is fairly prolific, whose settings seem to make sense to me, and that's what I have it in right now. And we'll experiment with this. We're going to try some different things. We'll try different settings. We'll adjust things back and forth until we find what works best. I'm curious to hear how the audio sounds as opposed to the Nikon J1. I'm assuming it's going to be much, much better. And that's it. We're just going to take it out and we're going to try things in different conditions. We're looking forward to low light shooting, whereas my GoPro Hero 5 Black was not able to shoot. Yesterday we went to Hollywood Studios. We couldn't shoot any of the attractions once we went inside. We could film outside great, walking around was terrific, but once we got indoors, it was just unusable, too dark. So we're really looking forward to be able to add that element with this camera. So we're going to keep working, keep practicing, and keep bringing you vlogs.
It's raining, which in Florida is normal. 5 more minutes from now, it won't be raining anymore. It's just Florida. So I gotta get used to holding this camera because my arm actually, it hurts holding it up.
We have a mount coming though. We have GoPro mount in this car, and we did find an adapter that will adapt the GoPro mount to a camera or a DSLR, so I have them ordered. There's our GoPro mount. You're too close, so it probably didn't focus.
Oh, sorry.
So if you flip the screen down, well, no, it's okay. So that's the GoPro mount. So we found an adapter that will actually screw into the bottom of the camera and then screw into the GoPro mount, so we don't have to hold the camera, which is a pain in the butt.
It is a pain in the butt. All right, we're gonna push pause and we'll open back up at the fishing hole. So we will see you there. Hasta la vista, baby. All right, we're here. Let's go figure this out. Change it. I like that this has a zoom on it. I'm gonna go close my...
Fishing in that spot quite a bit, so I'm thinking there are times when that spot's probably productive, and it's on our way. It's a little overpass over the Wekiva River that we cross over every time we go get Charlie every weekend, so I figured we'd give it a shot. So we tried. Didn't work out, but we tried.
He tried. All right.
Learning this camera right now, just for the record, we are in aperture priority mode We have a pretty wide open f-stop. We're at 1.8, so the camera is handling all of the ISO and all of the shutter speed, and we'll see how this looks. If we're not satisfied, we can go into a more program mode where the camera will take over more of the setting management. So just experimenting right now, and you know, we'll get better and better at using this camera. This is really the first time we've had it out of the house.
Yes, but because I'm doing it, but if I don't move my hand and the car's still moving, it tends to not look like it's jarring at all.
So basically, we have a GoPro, a GoPro Hero 5 Black, which is a great camera, but doesn't have very good stabilization. So we bought a Karma for that, a Karma Grip, which is basically an electronic gimbal to control image shake, and it basically holds the camera nice and level no matter what angle you're at. Well, this camera has that stabilization built into it. While it's not a gimbal, it's very advanced, much more advanced than the GoPro stabilization. So she's freehanding the camera right now, and we're on a bumpy road, so her hand is bouncing around. But looking at the image in the display, it does look very, very stable. So pretty impressive.
So image stabilization, we'll know more when we get home and put it on the TV.
Right.
But as of right now, it looks really good, and it looks like it's working very well. All right, so we're gonna let you go for now, and we'll pick you back up when we get to Charlie. Okay, so we're back on the road again. We're headed back to our home. We've got Charlie. Say hi, Charlie. All right, well, our battery's blinking low, so I'm gonna cut this short. We'll see you when we get home. Bye-bye.
All right, so we about ran this battery completely down. First day with the camera. So far pretty impressed. Not too impressed with the battery life though. Really is pretty short. Granted, we're messing around with the settings quite a bit, so you know, maybe that contributed to it, but I would say a couple hours of use at the most and the battery's gone. But we're going to order 2 more. This way that becomes a non-issue. So anyway, this was first day with the Canon G7X Mark II.